From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to another episode of Sonia Shits All Over the Holiday Movies You Love, also known as Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and thanks, but I'm seeing someone in wrapping. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, and she doesn't shit all over the holiday movies you love, Margo D.
I am here to defend the Santa Claus people.
Someone has to. So, like she said, we are talking about 1994's The Santa Claus, and this was actually a first-time watch for me. I had never seen it. Movie's 25 years old. I had never seen it.
Wow.
Let's start with this. Did you see it in the theater, Margo?
No, I did not see it in the theater, and I forget why, but I didn't see it in the theater. It's one of those things, I think I just started seeing it on TV, and they play it all the time at Christmas time.
Yes.
And I think that's what it was. It's just I was indoctrinated. I think I just watched it enough times that I was like, oh, okay. This is a Christmas story I like.
And I know that people love it. I wish I loved it. I didn't love it. I don't know why. All right. So let me go into my notes here because I wrote down some key things here. Because I'm sensing a trend with this and Christmas Vacation. A holiday movie for me to make what makes a successful holiday movie basically for me was it kind of it gives you this warm feeling. It gets you in the holiday spirit, makes you laugh, makes you cry, all those things. And the Santa Claus and Christmas Vacation didn't do that for me. And both movies made me feel kind of bad.
Okay. So what were you feeling bad about?
So some of the stuff at the beginning made me feel bad, but maybe that's by design. So
yeah,
it starts with him, Tim Allen's at his job where he works at a toy company, and him and another woman who's I guess on the same level as him are being congratulated for doing an awesome job that year. And he kind of interrupts her at the microphone. And
he's a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick. And I was like, ew, what a dick or whatever. And then there's this awkward thing where his son doesn't want to spend Christmas with him, and he's make sure you come back, Mom, come back really soon, come and get me. And I was like, that makes me feel bad, but that it's proving a point that he's not an awesome dad, and
he's not an awesome person. His name's Scott Calvin, and he lives in Detroit, and he's a divorced guy. His wife is remarried to Judge Reinhold.
I was very happy to see Judge Reinhold, by the way.
And he's good. He's good in the movie. But so Judge Reinhold plays a therapist, and he and Wendy Crewson plays the mother. Mm-hmm. And their whole thing with Charlie is about 8 years old, I think, 8 or 9 years old. Yeah. And they think he's too old to believe in Santa Claus. And the one thing, there's certain things that don't work. Well, trust me, this is not a masterpiece for sure. I'm saying this, if it's on cable at 3 p.m. and you're wrapping presents or something like that, it's a great movie to have on in the background. But their whole thing is they get upset that Charlie isn't accepting that there isn't a Santa Claus. And I'm like, he's 8. Leave him the fuck alone. Everyone will take that out of him eventually. Just let him enjoy Christmas. But you get the idea. His dad is kind of checked out emotionally. Mm-hmm. And Scott's a little bitter. He's a divorced guy, and he doesn't really, he's bitter. He's a gorgeous house. He has, makes a decent salary.
Yes.
So Scott is not a perfect person. He's very career focused, and he's a little condescending. He's kind of a jerk. He's just about making money. And he has a son for Christmas Eve. And then his son, Charlie, says, Mom, please pick me up tomorrow morning, first thing.
Yes.
He doesn't want to be with his dad. Dad takes him out to dinner because he screws up the turkey. And
that part was I'm sorry. That part was such a commercial, dad commercial thing where it's dads can't cook. It was ha ha, he can't cook because he's a dad. That part, I was it just reminded me of every commercial where dads are so dumb And the moms are always like, oh, it was like that. It reminded me of that. But go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's totally a commercial for that. So it's just like that, the guy that burned his hand because he burned the roast or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it is setting him up. He's kind of a man baby, but he's also cynical. And what happens is at the middle of the night, it's a world where there's a Santa Claus, and Santa Claus can be killed very easily because he fell off the roof. I'm like, wow. And so Scott
be killed very easily.
Yes. Well, he's dispatched really quickly. I'm like, wow, this is a guy that's got to fly around the world. I mean, in one night, you think he'd be sturdier and they would think these things through. But so Scott finds him, and for some reason, Scott, I'm not forgetting now how, but like Scott he just finds the uniform. He doesn't find the person. So that's nice.
Yeah. The person like disappears.
Yeah. And it's called the Santa Claus, which is like, if you put on the outfit, then you now have to be Santa Claus. And he can like fly up in the air, and he and Charlie go up on the roof, and they have the reindeer, and he quickly figures out he's Santa Claus. Like, he's going to go throughout the night and give presents and stuff. And then he wind up at the North Pole. Yes. You just have to accept it. Like, this is what the movie is. I really liked David Krumholtz as Bernard, the elf, who just explained like a little Jewish kid as the elf. I think it's great. That makes me laugh.
Yeah, you do have to. This is one of those movies. It's just one of those holiday movies. You have to accept that this is the thing, right? That this is the premise. It's obviously an unbelievable, outrageous premise, but like, you have to accept it. It's also one of those movies where like parents don't believe in Santa, but every Christmas they wake up to presents they didn't buy.
Yes.
I'm like, don't they ever wonder who it's from? But that's fine. See, it's one of those movies. You can't think about stuff like that.
You can't. There's so much and the things you notice later on after you've seen it like a dozen times, like I have, you're like, boy, these sets are cheap. Like, some of like the doctor office looks like it could be in any mini mall, in America. I mean, just some of the sets are really bad, but they have really good actors. Actually, they put their money there.
Yeah.
But he winds up in the North Pole. They give him the cute pajamas with his initials on it. Scott Calvin, Santa Claus.
So I have a question about that. The other elves don't seem to care that the other Santa died.
No.
There's like no moment of silence or recognition that maybe no sadness at all, that maybe we liked him or nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and also I was like, is there a Mrs. Claus? Like, we don't see her. I'm like, oh, poor Mrs. Claus.
Well, that's part 2. So you have to wait for that. Yeah. Well,
I haven't seen part 2.
Yeah, I tried. I'm sorry, Adam, if you're listening. I couldn't make it. Adam Risky, friend of the show. So Scott, he winds up, he stays overnight, and they basically say, you have a year to get your affairs in order. And then by next Christmas, you're going to be full tilt boogie, the Santa Claus, and you're going to live here full time. And he's like, yeah, fine. And it's very cute. They fall asleep in that bed that's like a sleigh.
Yes.
And stuff. And his son had a really great time with his dad. Of course he did. He's at the North Pole. What's so bad about that?
Also, his dad is Santa now, so...
that's cool.
You have to love Santa.
Yeah.
Or you get on the naughty list.
Right. And so Scott wakes up the next day, and he's in his home. And back in Detroit, he's wearing the pajamas. And Charlie's like, oh my God, Dad took me to the North Pole, and we had so much fun. And of course, so Wendy and her husband have to be jerks about it. Like, Scott, why'd you tell him that? I'm like, I don't know, because it's Christmas Eve. Maybe they're having fun. Like,
yeah.
Relax, guys. It's okay. But that's when they and then this stuff always, it makes me laugh, is that the physical transformation of Tim Allen, he becomes Santa. So he gains all this weight, and he gets the bushy hair and the gray. So when I dye my hair, I feel like a week later it starts to do that. What happens to him? I have to get my roots done every 6 weeks. And it's like around week 4, it's like, boom, like you don't see anything. And then it shows up, and it always drives me crazy. Anyway,
I feel like I step on the scale and I can just watch the numbers go up. Like what happens to him. I'm like, that's me every morning.
He gets a big belly, and all of a sudden he really likes sweets and treats, and he starts getting packages in the mail, and it's his naughty and nice list, and it takes over the whole house. And he can't fit in any of his clothes. He goes to the doctor, and like they check on him, and yeah, he's overweight, but his heart rate is fine.
Yes,
and he's totally healthy. And he just throughout the year, his son Charlie keeps talking about Santa Claus, and after a while, you're like, Charlie, don't maybe do that so much because they're gonna think your dad's crazy. But Charlie's just a kid. And what happens is that, and this is the sad part, because all of a sudden Charlie's parents, or his mom and his stepdad, they want to take him away from Tim Allen because he thinks he's Santa Claus. And all the kids know that he's Santa Claus. Everywhere he goes, kids like, want to hang out. That's really cute.
That part made me laugh. Like there's a scene where like Tim Allen is watching Charlie play soccer, and a little girl like sits next to him and kind of starts slowly scooting closer and closer. Next thing you know, there's like a line of kids because they just know. And but there is like a half hour of this movie is just little Charlie telling people the truth, and people like kind of gaslighting him.
Yeah, exactly. They're totally gaslighting
and I'm
him.
like, this part sucks. It's like, it's just like 30 minutes of this kid like telling the truth, and people telling him that he's a liar and he's crazy, and then they're threatening to take him away. And I was like, I don't like that part. That part made me feel bad. But I do.
Yeah, it's not
the
great.
Transformation stuff is pretty good. And then he like, there's this weird thing where like he goes to the office, and there's like some sort of presentation going on for like a tank that the toy company's gonna sell. And there's like this huge obsession with like his weight in the office where they're just like, what happened to you? You look like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like, and then I was like, why are they ordering food in their office like a restaurant? It seemed weird.
Oh, well, this is another thing. We've talked about this before. People in Hollywood do not know what jobs are or how offices work. They don't get it at all.
They're in their office, but there's a waiter there.
Oh, yeah, and you can order anything. You know what I mean? Like, no, they would have sandwiches and salad and crap at the end of the... If you're lucky, they bring it.
Yeah, and he orders like a shit ton of stuff that would never be on the same menu as like this weird eclectic stuff. It's like, I'm going to get a Diet Grape Fanta and a cake and a bowl of chow mein and a pizza. Like, all this stuff, whatever. Like, it's stuff that would never be on the same menu unless you're at like the Cheesecake Factory, because they have fucking everything there. But
yeah.
And also this is the other part where I was confused. Here's where I start asking questions. Why does he seem confused that he's gaining weight and growing a beard?
Because he normally, he keeps good care of himself.
Yeah, but he knows he knows he's Santa, right?
He does, but I think a part of him also wonders if it was like a weird trip. You know what I mean? Like, I get the feeling with him, like he thought maybe it was a crazy dream, and they had a crazy dream together or something. Yeah. Like it takes him a while to really understand, like, oh shit, they really are giving me a year, and I got to get this together, and then I got to go. Yeah. And I have to have a whole other life. So he's a little resistant to it at first, but then he eventually embraces it, especially as it gets towards the season, but to the holiday season again. But that's when Charlie's parents go to this is the part that bums me out. When they go to the judge and they separate him from his father, and he's all upset.
It's so sad.
It's sad. Yeah, I get that. You get the sads. But then they go right into the hijinks again.
So this is when the movie starts to remind me of your take on the movie Big. Because Tim Allen's character, Scott Calvin, goes to visit Charlie. Like, he's like, I want to see him one more time or whatever. And Laura and Neil are like, sure. And then he basically, like, Charlie leaves with him. So then there's this whole thing about Tim Allen's character has now kidnapped his own son, or so they think. And they're like calling the police and like all this stuff. And I'm like, I kept thinking of your review of Big on F This Movie, where like there's a whole other part of a movie that's going on that no one's talking about, which is, where's Mercedes Rule's son? She thinks he's kidnapped. Like, they don't ever talk about
Charlie,
that.
They think he's being kidnapped by his father, but it's Tim Allen, so that's not what's happening.
Right.
And he flies him. They go back to the North Pole, and now they've like souped up the everything so that he can go through chimneys better, and the reindeer behave better. But so Scott comes back to deliver the packages, and Scott gets picked up by the cops like right away.
Yes.
Like once again, they don't give him a lot of practice or something because he just immediately. But then he is in jail, and then he's busted out by the elves.
Yes.
And the kid elves, and that's when he goes over to Neil and his ex-wife, and he said they talked earlier about how when they stopped believing in Santa Claus, and they both mentioned 2 gifts that they never got. And according to the rules of the movie, it would be because they were assholes and they did something wrong, and that's why you didn't get your whistle or your dating game thing.
Yes.
But he gives it to them then, and that's when they realize it's really Santa Claus.
Yeah. There's also like a really weird scene the scene's kind of weird where they talk about how why they stopped believing in Santa. Like she gets very choked up talking about, well, I didn't get mystery date. I asked for mystery date.
Thank you.
And I didn't get it. And I'm like, dude, come on. That was like 30 years ago. Walk it off. Like, it's fine. Like she got very choked up. And so I want to go back to the kidnapping thing because the cops are all involved now, and they drew like they have like a police sketch of the right, and of course it's Santa, right? And everyone's like ha ha ha, like laughing and stuff like that. Then they do like a police lineup of all these different Santas, and my husband and I was watching it with me, and he's like, "Come on, like." Obviously, some of those people are not the Tim Allen. Like, it's like there's like a little person Santa, a black Santa, like clearly not Tim Allen, like not even close. He's all, what are they even doing there?
They're just busting all the Santas they can find.
I guess so, but I just thought that part was my husband's reaction to it. He's like, "Come on, like that's a real police lineup."
There's a lot. I get it. There's a lot that doesn't work. I say once again, like the special effects are really bad.
Yeah, the reindeer in particular, like there's this weird animatronic, like Chuck E. Cheese kind of vibe about some of the reindeer, where it's just like "Happy birthday, boy or girl," like that sort of thing about them. That part was strange, but all the stuff with the police I just thought was really weird, because then like they like bust into their house at one point and they all have their guns out, and I'm like, why are your guns out? And then there's like elves running around, but they're like pretending to be kids, but they're not really pretending because all their ears are sticking out. And I was like, they're it's so, and I was like, but why are they there? And I was very confused. I'm like, maybe this movie's too smart for me. I was like, what's happening?
No, I think it's just, they're just keeping a very simple construct. That's Tim Allen is Santa Claus.
Yes.
He gets the suit. He has to be him. Hijinks ensue. At the end, though, he accepts his new responsibility. He has a better relationship with his son. He has a better relationship with his ex-wife and her husband. And he's doing good for the world because he's going to be a Santa Claus that probably, hopefully, doesn't die, in Detroit.
Yeah. So I have more questions for you.
Yeah, please, anything.
What happens if Santa dies of natural causes?
I think it's the same thing.
Like he just killed, like...
Well, if he kills over at the North Pole?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think of that.
I don't know. Maybe they deal with that in the sequels. I haven't seen them.
No, but I would think that he has like really good health care up there, so they keep a good eye on him. I would guess. I don't know. I never thought about that.
And then
he is alone up there. There's no other adults. Yeah,
and then there's I know that the idea of Santa Claus 2 is he needs to find like a Mrs. Claus, right?
Right. He's been a Santa Claus for a few years, and then he has to find a Mrs. Claus or he has to retire or something. Yeah.
So what happens if Santa, the man who turns into Santa, is gay? Can he marry a man? Can it be a Mr. Claus? Or can it only be a woman?
I think it would be according to the rules in 1994. I don't know if there's any kind of domestic partnership.
That's right. They would have to
rules that would apply.
They would have to have some sort of arrangement, I suspect.
No, it's very heteronormative, these rules. Yes. They're very, it's white and heteronormative.
Right.
I thought it was very cute. The one girl that he sees on the first night on Christmas, and she leaves out milk and cookies, and he says, "I'm lactose intolerant."
That's right.
And then like a year later, he's like, "This is disgusting." She goes, "You said you were lactose intolerant, so I got you soy milk."
Yeah.
I thought that's very cute. That's really cute.
That part is really cute.
Yeah, she's a cute kid.
So my other rando question. So if word gets out that if Santa dies, you can become Santa, is it possible that people will try to kill Santa and take his job if the economy is really shitty?
I think people would want to do it. I haven't thought about that.
These are the things I think about at 2 a.m., by the way.
No, that's a good question.
And then, so I watched this movie with my husband, and when it was over, he's like, what a cliffhanger ending. He's like, did the toy company go with the tank ad or not?
Look, it's not perfect. I just find it enjoyable. I find it stupid enjoyable. I don't know what to tell you. I
totally understand why people like it. I feel like if it was, because I mean, the truth is, like, I'm sure I could go back with like my grown up, like, negative, shitty eyes and watch A Christmas Story and be like, this movie's fucked up, and like point out all this shit that's wrong with it. But I don't do that because I watch it with my nostalgia glasses on all the time. And I don't have nostalgia glasses for the Santa Claus or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So I'm addicted to the movies, and I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a monster.
No, you're not a monster. I mean, but we for Book versus Movie, we're doing some holiday books and movies, and we asked people, tell us, what are your favorite Christmas movies? And the Santa Claus came up more than once.
Yeah.
And by total adults, I think it's stupid enjoyable. You just put it on, and like I said, you're trimming the tree, or you're flipping through a magazine, or you're writing your Christmas cards. You have it on the background, it's totally fine. You know?
I think I could understand that. And I have very weird reactions to holiday movies. Like a couple years ago, I watched White Christmas for the first time, and I was like, meh, whatever. Now I watch that shit every year, and it's my fucking favorite. Like, I love White Christmas. Well, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I watch it every year. Like, I mean, the minute like Thanksgiving kicks in, I was like, time to watch White Christmas, and I put it on, and like that's when I'm like wrapping my gifts, or you know, doing online shopping, or you know, all those things. It's one of my Christmas staples now, and I'm like, who's to say a year from now I'll be like, you know what I love? The Santa Claus.
Wait, or your son might like it.
He might. That's true.
That might be like up your son's alley, and then you wind up watching it. They have it on all the freaking time.
Right.
That's the thing. Like when I used to like flip around cable more, now that I have more streaming, I don't have to. But you know, it used to be like you just flip around the channels, and at Christmas time, it just was that and Elf and A Christmas Story. Like they're always there. So you just wind up watching them.
I love Elf. I would pick Elf over pretty much anything else.
Absolutely. And A Christmas Story is still great.
I just think Elf is just pure joy. So you tried watching the sequel. Have you seen the whole sequel? And you just couldn't watch it a second time, or?
No, I got like halfway through, and then I was so annoyed with it because it's Scott. He's still Santa Claus, but he has to find a wife, and his son Charlie turns into kind of an asshole. He's like a delinquent in school, and the school principal is Elizabeth Mitchell, and they have some chemistry, but I'm just sort of like, why does he have to have a wife, and can't he just date somebody? Like, you know, I don't know. All of a sudden I was like, this isn't fun for me anymore. I liked it better when it was just this random guy that just had to be Santa Claus and had to make it work, and had to come to accept the new responsibility, which made him a nicer person too.
I think that's funny. Your reaction to Santa Claus 2 is my reaction watching the first Santa Claus.
Oh yeah. I got totally annoyed with it. I couldn't. And there's a third one with Martin Short.
Yeah, he's like Jack Frost or something like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to watch that, even though I really enjoyed Martin Short.
I feel bad. I know friend of the show, Adam Risky, super loves the Santa Claus, and he loves Santa Claus 2 even more.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll watch it. I could give it a shot, but it won't be till after the holidays, so
I predict you do not do it.
Watch it in May. Why not? Sure.
Just put it on first. It's on. I think it's on Disney Plus. I think it's part of the Disney thing. So
That's where I watched it. I know. Once again, just here we are shilling for Disney Plus.
I know,
but that's
but
how
they
I
know
watched
what they're
it.
doing. Yeah.
That's how I watched it. Let me go. I'm going to go through my notes and make sure I hit everything. I did think it was weird. So Charlie has this issue with his dad at the beginning. He doesn't really want to be with him. They have a hard time relating to each other. They go on the adventure the first night and like pass out gifts, and they're a little bit more bonded. But then at the end, he's like, "I love you, Santa Claus," instead of calling him Dad. And I was like, does he just love him because he's Santa Claus now, or does he love him because he's his dad?
It's a little bit of both. Santa Claus has made him a better dad and a better person.
Yeah.
Like adapting the persona. I think that's what it was.
There's also a part where like Laura's like, all of a sudden she does realize that he is Santa and she believes. And then she takes the court documents and she burns them. And I was like, I'm sure the courthouse has copies of those. Doesn't
It was symbolic. It was symbolic.
Sonia reading too much into it.
Wendy Crewson, she's this actress that's in a lot of like TV movies and stuff like that in the 90s. It's a very 90s fashion that she has too.
She looks like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. She's got like the really like dark, almost like a black hair with like the straight bangs and the bob. And she's even wearing like kind of a white shirt with a collar through some of the movie. And I was like, shit, she super looks like Uma Thurman.
That's a good call. I'd say I really like David Krumholtz as Bernard.
Yeah, he's really funny.
He's super funny. Mary Gross is really funny.
Yes.
Peter Boyle's in this movie. Like,
he's in it.
There's
for
some
like
good people in here.
He's in it for like a second. I was like, why'd you get Peter Boyle? And you're like, he doesn't get to do anything.
Or Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, Judge Reinhold's wearing these like Bill Cosby sweaters.
Yes, that's what I thought was funny too.
I was like, I love your sweater. I love seeing Judge Reinhold. He's such a tall, goofy looking dude. But he's really good at what he does. And he's one of those people that when he shows up, I'm like, oh, good. Judge Reinhold's in it. I like him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got good people in it. And it kind of goes along at a nice clip. I mean, you have to put your brain on ice when you're watching it. But
I think you put your brain on ice. I see what you did there.
But you just have to, And to me, it's just like, oh, it's Christmas time because this movie's on all the time.
Yeah. I am fully aware that my brain was not on ice when I watched this.
Next time, put it on ice.
Yeah. And I think all the things I've been thinking about and like writing, my questions down and all that, I think it's because the movie, like I just wanted it to, I wasn't entertained enough. So my mind started wandering and and that's when I'm like, how come they don't care that the other Santa's dead? Don't they want to have a moment of silence? I'm like, how come parents never believe in Santa, but there's always gifts? Like, I shouldn't be thinking about that stuff.
No, you should be just enjoying the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it just didn't do it for you. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, my friends. I wanted to. I really do. I'll like the next one.
You'll love the next one. I know that.
I will super love the next one. How many Santas do you think died? How many Santas have they gone through?
In the course of this filming of this movie?
In the film. How many Santas were harmed?
That's dark.
How many Santas were harmed in the making of this film?
They go very quickly too, and it's like the roof thing should be the one thing they figure out by now,
right? It seems a little weird that he would just fall off a roof and die.
Yeah, and I love it that they have like they juice up the sleigh, and it goes, it's got a CD player and it can make hot cocoa. I'm like, it should just keep you from falling and dying. Really,
that's all you need.
Yeah, that's what we really need there.
So then, before he like takes off for the second round of gift giving, they're like, here, you get like a flame retardant suit now, and here's how you can not fall, and like all these different things. And I was like, how come you didn't do that shit for the other Santa?
They didn't have that technology. It took a year.
Yeah, or maybe that's why they didn't care that he died.
They didn't give us. They thought he was stupid. Thought he was a lame Santa. They wanted him to go.
I wonder who he was. Maybe he was Bill
His
Cosby.
initials are SC. No, his initials are SC. I think that's part of the rules.
Is it?
I don't know. That's what I like to think.
Let's pretend it is.
Yeah, there you go.
So this movie came out the same weekend as Interview with a Vampire.
Oh my God. That's a movie I could take apart.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that one at some point. It's on our list. So if you had to choose, would you watch Interview with a Vampire or The Santa Claus?
It's the Santa Claus. I really don't like Interview with a Vampire.
I think I might go for the Santa Claus too.
Yeah. Interview with a Vampire has all the elements there to be a great movie, and it just like fails miserably, I think. It's not sexy, it's not scary. The acting is way bad. I can't take that movie. But I like making fun of it, so I'll watch it again.
Yeah, it's definitely on our list. Do we have anything else we want to say about the Santa Claus?
No, there were 3 of them. This is the best one.
The first one's the best one.
Yep.
It sounds like maybe I'm not going to see the other ones. I totally can see why people like it. I if I had nostalgia for it, for sure, like I would have a different reaction.
It's a movie you can watch also with the entire family.
Yes.
Right? No one can get offended by it. It's very innocent. It's very sweet.
That's true. It is all of those things.
Yeah.
I can totally see that. That's true. It is very family friendly.
Yeah.
I was so me. I was in a bar last night because that's what I do. And on the TV, because I care about what's on the TV in the bar, they were showing Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. Paul Giamatti's playing Santa Claus, and then Vince Vaughn is like Fred Claus, and then Kevin Spacey is in it too.
Oh no!
And I was all, ew, that's gross. I'm like, I kind of wish they weren't showing that on TV. I don't know if having Kevin Spacey in your movie means the movie should be canceled, but
I don't know. There's a Christmas movie I love, but it's very dark. It's called The Ref.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
Kevin Spacey and Judy
Davis.
Dave, thank you, and Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
And they're a couple that hate each other. They're married, but they're splitting up, and they fucking hate each other. And Dennis Leary is robbing their house.
Mm-hmm.
So they're tied up together, and they get to the point where he wants to shoot them just because they're so annoying because they fight nonstop. It's very dark.
Yes.
But it's really hilarious.
I remember thinking that movie was really, really funny.
There's a woman in there. There's someone's mother is in the movie, and she's this cranky old lady that gives Dennis Leary a hard time. My favorite line ever in a movie, he goes, "Lady, your husband didn't die. He went into hiding."
It's back when Dennis Leary was like really, really funny. This was like peak Dennis Leary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he had the MTV comedy specials and stuff like that. Yeah.
That one was super funny. I love that one.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about some other movies of 94?
Sure.
Okay. So we've done some 94 movies before. So 4 for 4 4. We've done some 94 movies before. And so I went in and just picked like 10 random ones here that I thought would be fun to talk about. So the first one is With Honors. Did you see that one with Joe Pesci?
Oh, yeah. He's the homeless guy.
Yeah. That played at my theater forever. And it had a Madonna song over the closing credits, and it had
I'll remember.
Yeah, and it had Moira Kelly in it, and she is, everybody drink, adorable, so adorable in that movie. She's really, really cute.
And is it also with Brendan Fraser?
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about Brendan Fraser before. Yeah, we're fans.
I don't remember if I liked the movie or not, to be honest. I know I saw it.
I don't think it's very good,
but I
think it's earnest.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I like everybody in it, but Stargate also came out in 94. Did you see Stargate?
No, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I liked Stargate. It was all right. Quiz Show.
I liked Quiz Show a lot.
Quiz Show's great.
It's a weird little movie. Like they would never make it now. It would have to be like a Netflix movie or something. But it was a who's the director? God damn it.
Robert Redford, right?
Robert Redford, sorry. Yes. Ethan Hawke. Yeah.
It's really, really good. The Paper came out in 94 with Michael Keaton.
We have to talk about that movie one day. I think that's on our list. It's bananas.
Yeah, it's such a strange movie.
so weird, and especially all the newspapers that are dying nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a totally different time. Yeah, we should do that one because you worked on the paper.
I did. I'll have thoughts and feelings about that. But
yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for newspaper movies, usually, even when they're not accurate. But that movie's super weird.
It's bizarre.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
The next one stars one of your favorites. It's On Deadly Ground with Steven Seagal.
We talked about him on our show, What a Creep.
Go listen to the Steven Seagal episode. It's a really good one. And by
really
good,
hilarious.
I mean he's a fucking creep.
Yeah.
North came out in 1994.
And that was a famous flop. That was Rob Reiner's big famous flop that year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he ever really recovered from it.
I don't know if he did either. And it resulted in one of the most famous movie reviews ever written, which was Roger Ebert. I think the first paragraph is, I hated this movie. I hated this movie. And then I should have like found the review and like pasted it here so I could read it. But it goes on. It's just like, I hated this movie. I hate that they thought anyone would like it. I hate everything about it. Like
he has a book of reviews that he's done, and it just says, I hated this movie.
Yes.
And there's some movies that made him so angry, it's like he's punching walls.
Yes, and North was one of them. Which I don't even think I've seen North.
I've never seen it either, but I remember it was one of those jokes that, like, you know, it was a punchline.
Yes.
The movie, like the title was a punchline, meaning failure. And up to that point, like everything Rob Reiner did was like a big hit.
Yes, that was not.
No.
Natural Born Killers.
I'm not a big fan of that one. I know a lot of people like it, and I like the people. I like Woody Harrelson. I don't know.
I would need to see it again.
Yeah. Juliette Lewis.
Yeah. I had mixed feelings. And Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah. Wow. We've talked about him.
Weird part for him. Very strange movie. I should rewatch it. I'm wondering.
We probably should, because
that's a conversation to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of conversations, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Okay. Terrible.
Such a shitty.
It's so bad, and we covered that for Book versus Movie, and it's just terrible.
I have to say, what I remember the most is it was boring as fuck.
Yeah.
It was so boring. I was like, how can this be boring? It was so boring. And then the last one is Little Women,
which is a fantastic movie.
So great.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I love that one. That's definitely a holiday one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're going to do it next year for Book versus Movie.
Then the new one's coming out really soon, right?
It's coming out next week. Yeah. It's Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah. I should put it on my list. I should go see it.
And Greta Gerwig is the director.
I need to see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on the list. I'm going to make it happen. I'm on vacation now. I have time for this.
So do you want to hear some of the top songs from 94?
Yes, I do.
We probably talked about them before because we've talked about 94 before, but Elton John, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Can you feel the love tonight? Such a weird song. It's from the Lion King. So I heard it every day for like a year.
Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun.
That's a good song.
Really good song. Lisa Loeb, Stay.
I super love that song. I still
love that
song.
Such a good song.
She's so cute.
Oh, she's adorable. Everybody drink. Stone Temple Pilots, Interstate Love Song. Still a great song.
Such a good song.
Green Day, Basket Case.
Also, still a really good one.
Good one. Blur, Girls and Boys. That's a good song.
Yeah, this is a good list.
It is. Warren G, Regulate.
I love that song.
It's dope. And finally, we have Weezer with Buddy Holly.
Okay, that's one of my favorite music videos of all time.
The band did is they pretended they were the band from Happy Days.
Yes.
And they interspersed themselves into and it hadn't been done before or that successfully.
Yes.
And it looks like they really were on Happy Days, and it's just hilarious.
I love it. I love the video so much.
Yeah. It's a good song too.
It is. So what else are you dorking out about?
So I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I'm really into, it's a podcast. It's Jab Abumrad, who's with NPR, and it's called Dolly Parton's America. And he is from Tennessee, and he's not Pakistani American, I don't believe. But anyway, Dolly Parton, his father is a surgeon, and Dolly Parton needed some work done a few years ago, and his father took care of her, and they became good friends. And so Jab, who's with Public Radio Lab, he's one of the co-hosts of Radio Lab, he started just talking to Dolly and got to be friends with her. And he just decided, like, it's crazy how many people love Dolly Parton and from all different backgrounds, but they don't really know her. Like, she's kind of she's a total mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes into her life, and she's so fascinating. Like, she's a brilliant songwriter. She is a prolific. And just hearing about her lifetime, like, if you get to know her, you realize this woman is super smart. Like, not a dummy she.
Yeah.
This was a really smart lady. And she's really good at navigating her public image with people. And she's really good about, well, good, or what he would say about it. Like, her friends are frustrated with her because she's not political at all. Like, she won't say anything. And she also, at one of the episodes, she declares she's not a feminist because she likes men, which is like, oh my God. It's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a whole thing like, I want to go to Dollywood now. Like, once you start listening to the show, like, I've got to go to this Dollywood because that sounds amazing.
People love Dollywood.
Oh yeah. And it's not expensive. I was looking online. I'm like, it's very reasonable. But she had a show in her act, and it was called Dolly Parton's Dixie something or other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about the North and the South fighting.
Yes.
And without the races, without any slaves. So it was just people fighting,
yes.
but not for any reason. And it's so funny. Like, somebody had explained to her, like, this is really not accurate. But it's really interesting. They talk to people who are from the area, the Blue Ridge Mountains, and what you find out what hillbilly really means. And there's a whole political history behind that, and just the people and what the people are like there, and how Dolly manages, like, she has a 50-year career.
Yes.
And she still tours stadiums, and she can tour anywhere in the world she wants, and there's a fan base for her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still, like, she has a husband she's been married to for 50 years. No one ever sees him, and nobody knows where her politics are, and nobody really, it's so fascinating. There's been like 6 or 7 episodes out, and I listened to them at least twice when they come out. There's so much history there. It's American history, and it's a part of the country I'm not familiar with. And she's far more intelligent and fascinating. And the best thing is that, not the best thing, but I guess one of the best things is you find out how smart she really is.
Yeah.
And so when she first came on the scene in the 70s, I didn't know about the Porter Wagner years. That's like late 60s, early 70s. I remember her when she was in like late 70s, and she was like, I have big tits and blonde hair. That's my jam. That is who I am. That's who I thought she was. And so she does these interviews with people, and they're so just like Johnny Carson just ogling over her.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And Barbara Walters, and I'm not a fan of Barbara Walters.
Yes.
But Barbara's interviewing her, and so condescending. Why do you choose to dress this way? It's so, people just underestimated her.
Mm-hmm.
And then 9 to 5 comes out, and she's this fantastic actress, and she's funny as shit, and she writes one of the best songs ever. Like, it's so fascinating. I keep talking about it to everybody I know. Like, it's so interesting. It's just super, super interesting. So Dolly Parton's America.
I am subscribing.
Yep.
And by the way, I love 9 to 5. That movie is fucking funny as hell.
We should talk about it.
Yeah, it's on our list. We need to do it. We should do it soon. It's funny as shit, and it is still, sadly, super relevant. So we should definitely talk about it.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I love it. Do you know Dollywood is one of the first, like, I don't want to say amusement park. I don't know if that's the right term for Dollywood, but it has rides and stuff. Anyway, they set up a whole like sensory area for people with sensory processing disorders so that you could go there.
Oh my God.
It's one of the first ones in the country to do that.
Very
sensitive to like her fan base, I guess, or wanting it to be available for everybody, which I think is really amazing.
She also, there's a whole section here. Like, she gives so many books to kids, poor kids that can't, that don't have access to books. She is the person, Dolly is the person that makes sure that they get them. There's a lot of kids that people they interview, they're saying like, the only books I was able to get as a child was through Dolly Parton, her literacy program, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good pick. I'm going to subscribe.
Thank you.
I'm listening to that. So this is not nearly as heartfelt. I have been watching Rick and Morty season 4.
Okay.
Have you watched any episodes of Rick and Morty?
No, I don't even know what it is.
It is a cartoon on, I think it's on the Cartoon Network, because I just watch it streaming, so I'm not 100%. Yeah, it is. It's part of like Adult Swim, that sort of thing. The cartoons that are kind of for adults. And the show is very, very strange. It's about like kind of like a mad scientist type and his grandson and the adventures they go on throughout the universe. And there's like multiple universes and timelines, and the show's really dark and fucked up and hilarious. And season 4 is just killing it. It's so funny. But one of the things I'm loving about the season 4 is there's this kind of running joke about they create all these different worlds and like different timelines, and eventually these worlds and timelines turn into like Nazis. And it happens like every time. Like they're like, God damn it. And I'm sure it's 100% like a commentary on like our current political climate, like the idea that we have all these advantages and like we could be so smart, but instead we're just fucking turning into Nazis. And for some reason it makes me laugh really hard. But there's also, this is the part I'm really dorking out about. So they go to a planet that's all snakes. So there's there's an episode where like a lot of the dialogue is just like and they don't translate it. So it's just like and then they're listening to like the radio station and they're like, oh, it's snake jazz, and it's just like and then somebody took it and like dubbed it or recorded it like on YouTube or whatever, and they've looped it, so now you can like listen to snake jazz for like hours and hours and hours. And my husband keeps sending it to me, so he's like, listen to this, and you open it up and it's like like, and it just goes on and on. That's what I'm really dorking out about, snake jazz.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's super weird. The show's super weird, but it's funny. I think it's funny. I think you might like it, Margo. You could. It does get like strangely serious in some parts, kind of like a BoJack Horseman. Do you watch that one?
Oh yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, and it's such a weird show because it's dealing with like all this like really cartoony like violence, and it's gross and all this stuff, but then it'll deal with something kind of serious about like loneliness and addiction and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And Rick and Morty's kind of the same. Also snake jazz.
Well, it's snake jazz. You have me at snake jazz, actually.
I'll send you the link. You can also just listen to snake jazz for 10 hours. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
On social media, you can find me at Brooklyn Fitchuk. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm mostly active on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog is brooklynfitchuk.com.
And you can listen to Dorking Out. You're listening to it right now on all the channels. Apple, you could go onto Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That would be super awesome. That would be really helpful. It helps people find the show. And we are also at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter. That's where you'll find most of us. We're not really on Facebook that much. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter. And you can listen to both of us on What a Creep. Listen to What a Creep. It's super fun. We're talking about creeps and not a creeps, and it's doing really well. It's got a Patreon page. We have a lot of fun on Twitter, like talking about creeps with other people. So you should follow and you should listen. Thanks for talking about Santa Claus with me, Margo.
Well, thank you for giving it a try.
At least I tried. But
absolutely.
We're going to be back next week with we're going to watch While You Were Sleeping.
Yay!
With Sandra Bullock.
I can't wait.
And was it Billy? No, and
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman. And and Peter Gallagher. That's who I was trying to think of as he's in that too. And spoiler, I really love this movie. So it's going to be really, really fun to talk about.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I used to love this movie.
Yeah. I'm really excited. So this is a good one. So if you guys want to do your homework and watch it before you listen, this is your chance. And we'll talk to you next week.